Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hi, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Dr. Liz Jenkins with drlizcoaching.com. And thank you for dropping in on day 5. Yeah. So on day 4, yesterday, we were looking at early fighting styles, where they came from, family, friends, early relationships. And what I had asked folks is to take a look at those early experiences because that's really all we had available to us, right? To watch or be involved in conflicts, discussions, negotiations, mediations, all those kinds of things that are aspects of conflict styles. And I had a couple of people say, hey, I think I'm uncovering some connections, but I really don't know. I thought, okay, hey, let me just pop on here and I will share with you one of my examples from my childhood that did influence my conflict, discussion, preference, mediation, negotiation style until I started learning that there were more options. All right. Because when we're growing up, what do we see? We typically have just our parents or our parents and their other relationships, or we might see them with their siblings or their relatives, our relatives, the grandmas and grandpas, and how they show up for disagreements or discussions and how it gets resolved or doesn't get resolved. And then as we get a little bit older, some of us maybe went into preschools or nursery schools or played with neighbors in the next door or in the same apartment complex or a church or wherever, and how we played, fought over toys, were the parental oversight in how we were allowed to win or lose or talk it out or not talk it out really did impact us. And we bring those things into our early dating relationships or early little infatuations. And, you know, some of us still carry those early messages, like you just get loud and you get your way, or you don't have a way. And so you kind of get bowled over without ever realizing that this was a time to use your voice and speak up. So, my example, and I just want to back up again to let you know that I truly believe that all of our parents, all of the folks that were doing the oversight, were doing the very, very best that they possibly can. So this is not a shame or blame train example or exercise for you. This is simply an exploration, more of a factual observation of this is probably where it came from, so that then you can fix that. All right. And so the teachers that didn't intervene on the playground, maybe some of them didn't really, want to get involved to get, and maybe some of them that's the way they thought was the best way for you guys to handle that scuffle or disagreement of who got on the swing set. I certainly remember the long line at the drinking fountain because we grew up in Southern California and it was hot and there's very few drinking fountains and there'd be a long line. And instead of pushing and shoving, somehow the rule was you counted to 10 and the person got to drink for 10 seconds and then they get back at the end of the line. So, okay. Again, that was a conflict situation somewhere in my world. Don't know if it was my peers, teachers, school, but that was the working way of managing that competing need. So you can let go of the guilt, you can let go of the blame. This exercise for you is really just exploration so that you can take that into your relationship and see where we can shift and change in the coming days. All right. So let's go back to me, to moi. I think it was maybe probably 11, maybe 12. So I was the oldest. I have two younger brothers. One was about a year and a half younger, and the other one was 7 years younger. So grew up in a small town, and all of a sudden we had our first two in town fast foods. They were Del Taco and McDonald's. Pretty snazzy, huh? And my mom was all over that, as I would have been too. And so there would be times when she'd load us into the station wagon. And I no longer even tried to call shotgun because with two younger brothers, they were getting it. If I plumped myself in the front seat, I was told, hey, let your brothers ride up there. You're okay out there. I need to keep an eye on them. Okay. So right there you can start seeing that if I had a preference to ride shotgun, I was already delegated out by my age and my ability to manage myself, and the fact that my two brothers would fight incessantly or pick on each other incessantly in the next seat. And so for my mom, it was probably really a convenience, a calm thing to manage a fight. I'm sure I've done that in my life too. And maybe you have too. And so it's these subtle things that start building on to folks. So we start to drive, and my mom says, hey, where do you guys want us to eat? Del Taco or McDonald's? Well, I'm all over Del Taco because they had the best French fries and tacos. And so I would say, Del Taco. And then my brothers would yell, McDonald's. And my mom would say, great, we're going to McDonald's. Like, what? No. So I would start I want to go to Del Taco. I want the French fries. So I start to talk about my preference. You guys like the French fries, right? And I start to, talk it up. And we're like, no, we want McDonald's, because he also had a Playscape type of thing. That was way before even the toys came out. So it was a Playscape. It was the hamburgers. And I think my mom wanted the hamburgers too. Or maybe she just wanted them to play on a Playscape so she didn't have to watch them. Who knows? So she'd say, hey, next time, Liz, we'll go to Del Taco next time. Okay. And then the next time we come, same scenario. Shotgun, no, I'm in the middle seat. And I would say, Del Taco. And my brothers would say, McDonald's. And she'd say, okay, we're going to McDonald's. And I said, wait a minute. Last time you said I got to go. She said, oh, no, I know. No. We'll just, come on, let's just go with this. So I just want to go get some hamburgers and bring them back. So then my little 11, 12-year-old brain started thinking, okay, geographically, Del Taco is on the way to McDonald's. We could stop there, get me the tacos and the French fries, and then we could go to McDonald's and everybody would be happy, right? So the next time I pitched that, I said, well, let's just stop at Del Taco. We'll go through Del Taco, and then we'll go through the McDonald's, and then we'll have everything that we want. And literally, it was on the same street. Okay. You go a mile down the main road, do a little drive through, and then get back on the main road to go out to McDonald's. And she said, no, you can't bring one fast food to another fast food place. You just can't do that. Like, why not? You're going to buy food there. It's not like we just go in there to play on the toys. And there's this 12-year-old negotiating. No, can't do it. And so I know in between those McDonald and Del Taco things, we did drive through Del Taco. We did stop at Del Taco some of the time. But what I started doing as the older person looks back at the younger person, and even then, I do remember having these thoughts, when she said, hey, where do you guys want to eat? And my little brain said, why bother? You're not going to get what you want anyway. Don't even speak up. And that's what I stopped doing. I started just shrugging my shoulders. I don't care. Whatever. Because in my mind, I'd had enough experiences where I felt like my preference wasn't being heard. And so I decided no preference was going to be better than being disappointed and fighting for that or negotiating when I felt like the odds were stacked against me. Okay. And I know that this was not an intentional dynamic, that my parents would ever want to put on any of the kids. But that's how myself, with my personality, with my conflict style, came out of just something benign in my childhood. Okay. And so I want to share that with you so that you can start seeing how, if you had maybe my conflict style, my personality, that in a situation like that, or maybe something different, you started not showing up with a preference. You stopped really fighting it, or told yourself, don't even bother, it's not worth the effort. But if you'd had maybe one of the other personality styles, like my um, younger brother, that he would have fought harder or been more persuasive and would have gotten to if he wanted Del Taco, get to Del Taco. Or someone in my family had been really fiery and angry and demanding and acting out. How they might have handled that frustration, or that you have to wait your turn type of thing, when the turn didn't always happen. It didn't happen very often. Okay. So it's not a bad thing, however you showed up as a kid. It's not a bad thing, however you showed up as in your early friendships, relationships, okay, family of origin stuff. But what it is, that the thing is now, is you have power. You have the ability to take those past situations and learn from them. And I've got the skills, and I've got the techniques and the tools that you need, or you could use, to switch that up so that you could be in those situations, the Del Taco and the hamburger situation, and you show up with a preference, and you show up with really effective conflict styles of listening, discussing, managing. We're going to talk about that, managing your state, so that it's a win-win for the two of you in your relationship. So I hope that gave you guys an example. And I'd love to hear more. So continue to keep DMing me or drop your comments below. But I hope that gave you an example of what I meant about how these really subtle things do show up, or did show up, in our ongoing conflict style toolkit. And I'm here to give you more insight, more power, more awareness, strategies that work, so you can pick and choose how you show up in your relationship and in your conflict. So you have conversations instead of, okay, take care. I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.